Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on weird and true mysterious stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Case file number 1377, written by User Unknown Skag. The night the stars went silent and the forest screamed. A couple years ago, a good buddy and I went up to the place my folks had recently bought to check on construction progress. In reality, sight in a new rifle and get a bit drunk. After a couple of hours, we're hanging out at the end of an as-yet unpaved driveway, working our way through a few cold ones, when a random truck rolls up the driveway. Out pops a guy with a Children of the Corn vibe and a middle management dress sense. We were just relieved at first that he didn't appear to be a cop. He says hi, introduces himself vaguely, and starts asking pretty pointed questions about us personally, how much we paid for the place, what the plans for the land are, 80 acres in the middle of nowhere, etc. We answer just as vaguely, albeit politely, offer the guy a beer, and make polite hints he's welcome to clear off at his earliest convenience, which he does with no great haste. Whatever, people are weird in the country, especially when a previous potential buyer wanted to turn the place into an industrial hog farm, apparently. I get being a nosy-ish neighbor, I guess, so we shrug it off and I go back to our beers and decide to make a little campfire as it's getting dark. This is when it starts to get a bit weird. Since he and I both worked a retail job, we had weird days off. And this was the middle of the week, not exactly a party night at the local campground. We start hearing some weird stuff from the houses across the street. They're not close enough that we can see what's going on, but close enough we could hear the sound of people talking at normal volume. Not that weird, right? It's nowhere, no industrial or highway noise sound carries. But we start to realize there's something rhythmic about the sound we're hearing. Not musical, but organized, almost chanting. We're getting a little weirded out, but they're not specifically bothering us, and we're big tough men after all, with a hunting rifle in the trunk, and enjoying a night off with a fire and the stars overhead. Every now and again, we'd hear some animal or other moving thing moving through the tree line behind us, and thought how cool it was to be out in nature. About 10 minutes later, everything goes quiet, completely silent. The weirdos across the road, the forest, even the wind just completely dropped off into nothing. With that silence, we both suddenly felt like we had eyes on us, like we were at the middle of a stadium full of silent fans, all staring unblinkingly directly at the two of us. We didn't even say a word to each other, but at the same time kicked dirt on the fire and grabbed the gun out of its case. We both felt like something was absolutely not right, suddenly. And then we heard a noise. It was faint at first, and then built. Something was running through the trees, crashing around, not caring how much noise it made. Whatever it was ran right to the edge of the tree line and stopped. There are black bears in that area, but they tend to go out of their way to avoid people. We were sweating, barely breathing. It still felt like thousands of people were staring at us. The hair on my arms and the back of my neck were standing on end. It was silent again for a moment, and we thought the stillness was worse than the noise in the trees. Until something screamed. It sounded like a woman being stabbed to death. I've never in all my life heard anything quite like that, and I hope I never do again. It screamed once, and that was all it took. I think we called out to see if someone was there, but we were both shaken right down to our core. We jumped back into my car and drove out of there as fast as that beat-up Pontiac could carry us. Case notes file 1377. The night the stars went silent and the forest screamed. At first my guess was the locals were trying to scare who they thought was the new property owners away, maybe into even selling the land to them at a discount because of the cultists in the area. However, when you add in the sound dampening details, well, now we're talking about real occult practice. It takes a lot of evil energy in an area, a dark cloud if you will, to reduce the volume of everything in the area, even the wind. There's nothing good about that, and as you say, the man you encountered had a Children of the Corn vibe. Trust the vibes you get about people. Almost always correct. Case file number 1378, written by Anonymous. The Journey of a Ring from Bleacher to Pocket. Here's something that happened to me that was very strange, and I could never explain it. I was sitting on these bleachers with my sister. We were sitting more towards the top. If you were to drop something, it would fall through the steps and you would never see it again because there was a chain fence surrounding the back, so people can't go under the bleachers, if that makes sense. So we were sitting there and we were joking around and started fighting. She was sitting to my left, and I was wearing this ring on my right hand. The ring fit me loosely. When I whipped my hand back, the ring flew off my finger, and I heard it hit the metal steps of the bleachers to my right. It was my favorite ring, so I turned on my flashlight and tried looking for it, hoping it didn't fall through the steps. Even a lady sitting behind us saw what happened and tried helping me, but we couldn't find it, and I realized it must have fallen and I lost it forever. I'm just sitting there bummed out about it for a few minutes. I put my hands into my jacket pockets. I feel something in my right pocket and I pull it out, and what do you know, it's my ring. I still have no idea how it ended up in my pocket when it clearly flew off my hand several feet to my right and hit the ground, and I never picked it up. I heard the click as it fell and hit the metal bleacher. Not very dramatic, but it's still one of the strangest things that's ever happened to me. Case notes of file 1378. The journey of a ring from bleacher to pocket. I think we can all agree this was no accident or even a random glitch. It had to be willed. Someone or something wanted you to have your ring back, guardian angel maybe. The ring probably had great significance to you, maybe even bound to a grandparent that is lingering behind and tethered to it. Maybe it was a grandparent. That'd make the most sense to me actually, not just in returning it to you, but also ensuring they're not stuck wandering around a bleacher for eons. No, they'd want to be with you. Much more interesting. Now time for the quote of the day. If you want to tell people the truth, make them laugh. Otherwise, they'll kill you. Oscar Wilde. Yeah, he was pretty good at that, wasn't he? I think the best person I've ever listened to be able to do this is George Carlin. Basically, his whole act was telling the truth, slightly exaggerated, in a great delivery. And it worked. It really did. Not too many comedians do that, but some do, and man, it's just... all comedians tell the truth that is exaggerated, but if you're talking about some grander scale truth, political truth, religious truth, whatever it may be, or at least how you believe it, something that makes sense to you, if you deliver it with a spoonful of sugar, it does help the medicine go down. No doubt about that. Break the ice with some humor. Never a bad call. Like the video, subscribe, hit the bell. Kinetic Symphony signing off.